Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Financial Clinic. I am Adenike Shokumbi, and it's so good to be here this evening. I'm particularly very excited to be here, very, very excited. And I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you who is on the live session with me. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for joining in. I believe that there are many things that you could have been doing with your time right now. There are many places you could have been right now, but you decided to join us this evening, and I am grateful for that. And it's my intention this evening to make sure that it is rewarding of every bit, every minute, every hour that you commit to being here today. You're sure going to have an amazing time. Well, um, like I said earlier, it's Financial Clinic, and of course, this is where we learn about finances, how to manage our finances better, and all of that. But today we're going to be considering a very, very, very interesting topic. But before I go into that, um, there's so much that we have to unpack this evening, and it's going to be within a limited time. Time is not our friend, but there's still so much that I will be unpacking this evening. So I just want to apologize ahead in case I get to a point in this conversation when I begin to talk faster than I am talking right now. Please, you have to bear with me. Whatever is it that you miss out during this live session, please do well to catch the replay so that you'll be able to catch on whatever is it that you miss out on. And so before I go into what we have for today, I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Dare Shokumbi, our financial clarity coach, for the invitation to come share on this great platform. Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. Thank you very much for the trust, and thank you for the amazing work that you are doing with this great community. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's dive straight into what we have for today. Well, I hope it's not too late to say Happy New Year. I hope it's not too late to say that. So I want to say Happy New Year to each and everyone who is on this call this evening. And for every other person that will be catching the replay, I want to say Happy New Year. Hope your year has been amazing. Guys, it's 2025. It's 2025. And honestly, if you ask me, it still feels like 2024. It still feels like 2024. And the more I thought about it, I remember like a couple of days, when the year started, I was just lost, in deep thought, because it was looking like 2024 was so quick. And as a matter of fact, I actually thought that, it seems 2024 had like 6 months in it, with how, it just came hurriedly and in a jiffy. We've already kissed, 2024 goodbye, and 2025 is here. And now that we are in 2025, 2025 even also didn't come to play. We're already more than halfway gone in the first month in year 2025. And as I thought further about that, I realized that in another couple of months, I'm going to be officially a mother to a teenager. And it's just a feeling that I've not really gotten over. It's a feeling I've not gotten over, because I kept thinking to myself, when was it? Like, how many months was it? Or maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, right? Like, how many years ago was it that I was also a teenage girl myself, running around in secondary school, trying to navigate life, trying to figure out who I am, why I'm here, and all of that. And then in another couple of months, I'm going to be a mother to a teenager. Yes, you might be like, but that's a blessing. Of course, it's a blessing, but at the same time, for me, it causes for reflection. It causes for reflection, because I'm like, okay, now that I'm going to be a mother to a teenager in another couple of months, and for me, it's as if it just came on me suddenly. You get, it's as if it just came on me suddenly. But I thought further, and then I realized that in another couple of years, I'm going to be a grandmother. In another couple of years, I'm going to be a grandmother. And it's also going to be something that will happen in a flash. Like, I'm going to be a mother to a teenager, and it's feeling like, oh, how did we get here? How many years ago was it that I was a teenage girl myself? In another couple of years, I'm going to be a grandmother, telling stories to my grandchildren and sharing experiences with my grandchildren. And because I'm kind of a deep thinker, I, had to just stay with that thought for a while. Like, so what kind of story will I be telling my grandchildren? What will be the kind of experiences that I get to share with them? I kind of came up with, some conclusions, but I'm only just going to mention one of the conclusions that I drew from that thinking session that I had with myself, because that particular one that I'll be sharing on in a bit is something that is relevant to the conversation that we're going to be having this evening. So let me just hold that grandmother story. Let me just hold it for a bit, and then if I have time much later, I might still be able to, go into it. But one of the conclusions that I drew is the fact that something has definitely happened to our time. In recent years, we've seen, more technological advancement than we have ever seen before. There are things that used to take years to happen that in 1 month or even 2 weeks, you can get it done in the time that we are in. So much so that the things that used to take months, maybe now take days. Those that used to take days now take hours, if not, minutes. And those things that used to take minutes now take, split seconds. It's just, something that that causes for reflection. Like, because most of the time there's this illusion that we have that, oh, we have time and all of that. But time seems to be passing so quickly. The world seems to be moving in a flash. That whatever is it that I'm still saying, or that you're still saying, oh, okay, let me push it, to the next hour. Before you know it, it's still the next day. And before you know it, it's still the next week. And before you know it, it's still the next month. And before we know it, time has gone. Before we know it, time has gone. So it's important for us to understand that the time that we live in, the time that we are in, is moving very quickly. And because time is moving so very quickly, the world has become more fast-paced than ever. The world has become more fast-paced than ever. And if you are not careful, it's so easy to get stuck in our daily grind. It's so easy to be caught up with the distractions here and there, that we forget what is truly relevant. And so tonight we're going to be talking about how to become a valuable asset to yourself. How to become a valuable asset to yourself. I believe that, yes, each and every one of us want to make changes in our world. We want to be able to influence our world positively. We want to bring something into our world that, changes our world for good. It's all good. But one of the things that I learned early in life is that whatever change that I'm going to bring to the world must begin with me. Because I cannot give what I don't have. You can't give what you don't have. So for any change that I want to bring to the world, for any change that I want to bring to the world, I must be the person that can bring that change. I must have become the kind of person that can bring that change. There is a set of attitude that I need to have to be able to be that person that brings that change into my world. Because I can only give as much as I have. I can only give as much as I know. And so if I want the world to become a better place through me, I need to become a better person to be able to occupy that position of making the world better. And so I know usually when people hear how, can I, become a more valuable person, or how can I become, a more valuable person? There are questions that we begin to ask, as it has to do with our contribution. Okay, so what is that contribution that I need to be making in my world, for me to be a valuable person? But we are not going to go through that route, this evening. We're not going to be talking about contributions that you need to make in the world. Tonight's or this evening's class is focused on who you need to become, who you need to become for you to be able to occupy that position where you are able to make relevance in the world. Who that you need to become, because a lot of times we are just focused about, okay, what's the next valuable thing that we can do, when in essence we should concentrate on who that we need to become for us to be able to make those valuable contributions. I personally believe that once you become valuable, once you become a valuable person, valuable contribution now becomes like an organic byproduct of who you are. Once you become a valuable person, valuable contributions, become an organic product of an organic byproduct of who you are. So there's no need struggling to become a valuable person, to do valuable things in the world. Once you become a valuable person, it will be against the law of justice for valuable outcomes for valuable outcomes to refuse you. And so it's important that we pay attention to who is it that we need to become. Who is it that we need to become? And so this evening, the focus is going to be, what are the things that are in the way of us becoming a valuable person? What are the things that are in my way of becoming a valuable person? What are those things that can be a barrier? What are those things that can serve as a blockage? What are those things that can serve as a hindrance to you becoming a valuable person? Those things that can serve as a hindrance to me become a valuable person. Those are the things that we're going to be looking at in this evening session. And the number one thing that I would like to touch on, okay, maybe it's not just one thing. Maybe it has, even though it's like one thing, but it has many things underneath it. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Oluwaseyoni. Pay attention to you becoming a valuable person. So what are those things that can actually stand in our way? Because a lot of times people kind of know what they should be doing to, become valuable people. Like, oh, I know that if I want to become a valuable person, this is what is expected of me. This is the attitude that I need to have. This is the mindset that I need to have. These are maybe some of the places that I need to go. People kind of, um, have um, have that information about some of the things that they can do to add value to their lives. But most of the time, people do not recognize, those things that are actually standing in their way of becoming a valuable person. And so somebody is already standing now, and then you're thinking, oh, okay, yes, I know the people that don't want me to be all that I want to be. I know the people that, what's the word now? I know the people in my life that are trying to sabotage my efforts. I know the people in my life that, are trying to make sure that I don't achieve my dreams, the enemy of progress, whatever is it. But what we are going to talk about tonight are not even external influences. What we'll be considering this evening, it has nothing to do with external influences. And so what we are considering is something that is internal and is actually within your control to make a change. The things that can serve as hindrances are not external. The ones we're talking about, at least this evening, they are not external. They are not external forces. They are actually internal forces that are within your control. And the moment that you are able to address those internal forces, even those external forces that you see, is going to give way. Because for anything to work against you, there must be a level of consent, for any situation to work against you, for anyone to work against you, there must be a level of consent, that you give to that situation or to those people for it to actually hinder you. And so this evening, let's talk about, those internal forces that once you are able to take care of those internal forces, then whatever is it that is even an external obstacle, gives way. And the very number one that I would like for us to consider is, self-sabotaging behaviors. Self-sabotaging behaviors. Usually, uh, you have a goal set. You have something that maybe, you want to achieve, or you have a vision, you have a dream, that you want to make come true. But there are some self-sabotaging behaviors that, we engage that is now in the way of us being able to actually achieve, that dream. And the very number one that I would like to consider in the self-sabotaging behavior is the very first one that I would like to consider. Thank you, Mr. Shea. Self-sabotaging behavior. Yes, self-sabotaging behavior. And the very number one that I want to consider under that category, for lack of better word, is, negative self-talk. Negative self-talk. Like there's something that you have set your mind to do. There's a vision in your mind. There's a dream in your mind. There's a goal that you want to achieve. But you are giving into negative self-talk. It's not even about what people are telling you. Oh, you can't do it. Yes, people can always doubt our abilities. People can always doubt our capacities and all of that. But it will hold no water if there's no bit of consent from us. If there's no bit of consent where you're second guessing yourself, where you're feeling inadequate for that vision, where you're feeling inadequate for that dream, where you're feeling inadequate for that goal that you want to actualize. You have set out that, oh, this year, I'm going to commit to this goal. I'm going to commit to this dream. I'm going to commit to this plan. But you cannot move past the plan. You can't move past, just having it on paper. You can't move past because there's this second guessing of yourself. You're constantly telling yourself that, oh, maybe you're not good enough. You're constantly telling yourself that you're not, maybe you're comparing yourself with other people, seeing what people are doing out there, and you feel like, no, I'm not the person for the job. Even though it's something that you want to do, you already are looking at someone else that is best suited for the job. You are looking at someone else, yes, negative self-talk. You are looking at someone else and considering that person as best suited for the job. Because the moment that you give into negative self-talk, and the moment you give into the fact that, oh, I'm not the person for the job, I can't, eventually, if you say you can't, it will really be the situation. You will not be able to actualize that goal. You will not be able to make that dream happen. And so if there's anything that you want to remove, if there's anything that you want to remove from your life this year, it will be that negative, self-talk. And then stop downplaying, because one other thing that we kind of also do is downplaying our accomplishments, and it's one of the reasons why we kind of feel inadequate even for that which we have been destined to do. That this very thing is something that you are the one that should serve that purpose, but because you're constantly, even the things that are like, maybe you see them as little steps or little success or little progress, like even you're not even acknowledging the role that you played in that accomplishment. Every time is all about just criticizing yourself, just criticizing what you've done, how you didn't do it well, how you should have done it better. Yes, there can always be room for improvement, but never downplay your accomplishments. The same way that we are told that, oh, whatever is it that you fail at, you have to take responsibility. We have heard that time and time again, that anything that is going wrong in our life, we should take responsibility for it. So the same way that you need to take responsibility for the things that are going wrong, we must also take responsibility and acknowledge the role that we are playing in our own accomplishments. And so celebrate instead of giving into negative self-talk, even if what you did, you didn't do it as well as you would have loved to do it. But praise the fact that at least you took a step. You took a step, and that is, great enough. And then the number two thing that I would also like to address is perfection. Wanting everything to be perfect. You remember that we're talking about self-sabotaging behaviors. Perfection. You do not want to make mistakes. I remember I was reading a book some time ago, and one of the things that the author said was those that are not willing to make mistakes are exempted from greatness. And when I read it, I was like, wow, those that are not willing to make mistakes are exempted from greatness. And so this, I just want everything to be perfect. I'm trying to put finishing touches. I'm trying to dot the I's. I'm trying to, cross the T's and all of that. And then eventually you don't get to start nada. Eventually you don't get to start anything. Wanting everything to be perfect. Leadership does not require perfection. Leadership does not require perfection. Whatever it is that we want to do, you are a leader. Whatever purpose you want to serve, you're a leader. And leadership does not require perfection. It requires action. You must be willing to take action. You must be willing to take action. You must be willing to do it awkward. And, as I thought about, the need for us to start things awkward and be comfortable with it, I remember how everything that we have now been able to master started awkwardly for us. Even people were able to catwalk, walk majestically, and all of that. Remember that there was a point in their lives that to take the first step was very, very difficult. Even for people who are speaking eloquently, you're able to communicate, articulate whatever is it that you want. It also started awkwardly, started stuttering as a baby, started babbling as a baby. So everything that looks like, we're born, for this and all of that. By the time you trace it back to how it started awkwardly. And so this year, be willing to take awkward steps. Be willing to take awkward steps. Someone said, for anyone that wants to succeed greatly, you must be willing to fail greatly. To succeed greatly, you must be willing to fail greatly. So I don't know what it is that you have set out to do in the new year. Of course, in the new year, people have, new year resolutions. There are goals, there are expectations that you have set for the year. Are you going to allow negative self-talk to be what does not allow you to fulfill all of the dreams that you have for this year? Are you going to allow negative self-talk to not allow you to actualize everything that you have set out to do this year? Are you going to allow wanting to be perfect allow you not take the first step? So this year, it doesn't matter whether it's awkward, it doesn't matter whether you're going to crawl, whether you're going to walk, whether you're going to run, whether you're going to start, just make sure that you are moving. Most times we are looking for that one next big step to take because we believe that our major breakthrough is in that next big step, that we're about to take. But most times it's never, and all of the time, it's never in that next big step. It's never in that next big step. It's always in that little effort that you are putting in day in, Me? Can you hear me? Can someone hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section. Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me now? Oh, thank you so much. I struggled with, I think it's the mic that went off. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so very much, and thanks for your patience. All right. So, like I was saying, do not allow negative mindset, negative self-talk to stop you this year, because it doesn't matter what people are saying around you. It doesn't matter who believes in you. It doesn't matter who doesn't believe in you. As long as you believe in what you have set out to do, and you're willing to do it awkwardly, you are willing to crawl, even to start, even if that's the first step that you need to take. As long as you're moving, that is what is most important. Because when it comes to making progress, it's about momentum. And momentum, there's no one that gathers momentum while they are waiting. There is no one that can gather momentum with inaction. Momentum will always be because you're moving. So it doesn't matter whether it's crawling, it doesn't matter whether it's walking, it doesn't matter whether it's running. Thank you, Adiola. It doesn't matter whether it's flying or soaring. Just make sure that nothing stops you, on your way to achieving that which you have set out to do this year. Thank you so much, Ruki. Thank you. So just make sure that nothing stops you. Just make sure that nothing stops you, not even you. Not even you, because becoming a valuable asset to yourself will mean that you want to commit to doing the internal work that is required. You have to commit to the internal work that is required, believing in yourself. Because once you get to that point where you are able to believe in yourself, regardless of whether the steps that you're taking is perfect or not, just believe in the steps that you're taking, believe in the progress that you're making, believe in the consistent, even if it's little effort that you're putting in. As long as you believe in those little consistent efforts, it's going to multiply, it's going to compound, and at the end of the day, you will be amazed at what it is that you have been able to do. You are going to be amazed at what just being in that place where there is this belief, regardless of the situations, the circumstances, or the barriers that you see in front of you. Once you are able to get into your mind and do an internal work of decluttering your mind, and it's in the place of decluttering your mind that you take care of the negative self-talk. There's nobody who doesn't, have a level of fear. I think it's something that God has put, on our inside. Fear, like if there is no fear, imagine you see danger, you walk into it. So fear is not such a bad thing. At the end of the day, it's about, okay, so what am I willing to do with this fear? Am I going to allow the fear that I'm feeling right now to stop me? Because it's one of the reasons why people are not able to do things that are valuable, with their lives. Like you already have an idea of that which God, wants you to do. You know the purpose that God has put you here to serve, but that constant fear, is the reason why you're holding back. Is the reason why you're like, feeling insufficient, like, I know this thing, I don't want to, because the truth of the matter is, if we do not confront our fear, if we do not face our fears, how do we even know what we are capable of? If we do not face our fears, how do we even know what it is that we need to work on? Because once you face your fear and you start to take action, that is when you now begin to see, oh, okay, so I actually took that step. I was able to actually do that. I was able to give that presentation. I was able to start that project. So what is it that has been, the limitation of that action, of that step that you took? And so now you're no longer at that point where, like, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? I've gone ahead to do it. You might have done it awkwardly, but it does not still dispute the fact that you have gone ahead to do it. And the more that you are taking those consistent step, the more that you're making those, you're taking those, you are putting in those little effort, the more there is this confidence that you have. The more you accomplish, the more it is that you will be able to accomplish. So you want to decide this year that you are not going to give in to self-sabotaging behaviors. You're not going to allow fear. You're not going to allow indiscipline, because indiscipline is another reason why people are unable to become valuable assets to themselves. Indiscipline. You can't commit to a goal and see it through. You can't commit to a goal and see it through. You are waiting to feel like it. Whereas when it comes to success, success does not care how you feel. So once you have already set out that this is what you want to do, whether you feel like it or not, you must be able to put things in place that ensures that you follow through with that goal. If you have decided that, oh, this year I want to commit to, fitness and all of that, then draw a schedule. Whether you feel like it or not, you have to go at it. I remember I was taking a walk with my daughter, I think it was last week, and they were still, she was still, it was still during her holiday, so we went out, and she was like, so that day I was really dragging myself because I didn't really feel like coming out that day, but I've committed to my fitness goals. And then I was telling her, like, oh, I didn't feel like coming out this morning, no, but because I need to stay committed to my goal. I know what coming out and exercising will do for my health. So I'm committed to it. So whether I feel like doing it or not, I come out. And so another self-sabotaging behavior that you want to ensure you get rid of is indiscipline. Make sure that whatever is it that you are committed to, like, oh, this is what I am committing to do today, see it through. Whether you feel like it or not, whether you have to drag yourself, whether you have to crawl, whether you have to run, anyhow that you need to be, or anything that you need to do to ensure that you see it to completion, you have to do that. You have to do that. And one other thing that people also do that is also self-sabotaging is procrastination. Like, oh, I'll do it the next minute. And then it becomes the next hour. Then it becomes the next day. Then it becomes the next week. Then it becomes the next month. And before you know it, it's the next year. Because as much as procrastination does not look like, I'm just postponing it to the next minute now. I'm just postponing it to the next day now. Before you know it, it's 10 years down the line. I have not been able to take that step. And one of the reasons why we are always quick to kind of procrastinate is because we don't see it as an enemy. We don't see procrastination as an opposition. All this sabotaging behavior, like indiscipline, fear, procrastination, negative self-talk, we don't see it as an opposition. You're seeing, that person that doesn't like you in the office, or that person in your school that is beefing you as the opposition. They are not really the opposition, because nobody can stop you except you consent, to them stopping you. So the real opposition are those internal forces that, you are kind of pampering. You are afraid, you are fearful, you're not able to take steps, for your own progress, and you don't see fear as an opposition. Because the moment you begin to see those things for what they really are, that these ones, these things, they are in the way of me becoming a valuable asset to myself. Because how do I become a valuable asset to myself? If I will entertain fear, if I will give into negative self-talk, if I will procrastinate when I'm supposed to be taking action, if I'm looking for perfection when I'm supposed to be taking steps, even if they are awkward, if I'm looking for one big, huge, step to take, as again taking little steps that will eventually compound and give me the momentum that I need for my progress. And so we really need to consider all of these self-sabotaging behaviors. We need to consider them and put them in their rightful place of opposition. They are standing in the way of you becoming a more valuable person. They are standing in the way of you becoming a more valuable person. So what are you going to do about it? You see that fear did not allow you to follow through with your goal for last year. Are you still going to give in to fear this year? Procrastination didn't allow you to follow through with the dream you had for last year. Are you still going to follow through with procrastination this year? Negative self-talk did not allow you to take a step towards your goal, to take a step towards your vision. are you still going to allow what stopped you last year to stop you this year? Because as far as I'm concerned, even though it's a new year, you can reproduce 2024 in 2025. There are people who have been reproducing 10 years ago, in their current year. Because there is no new year without you committing to new goals, without you committing to new decisions, without you committing to take new action. It was my Mudok that said that it's sheer lunacy to continue to do something the same way and expect a different result. What are you willing to do differently this year to become a more valuable person? What is the commitment? Because yes, when people hear, oh, valuable, becoming a valuable person, every one of us want to be valuable people. But what is that sacrifice that you're willing to make? What is that sacrifice that you're willing to make? Are you willing to commit the time, the resource, and the effort it takes to deliver the goal that you desire? That goal that you want to actualize, that dream that you want to make come true. Are you willing to give it what it takes? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? Are you willing to sacrifice fear? Are you willing to sacrifice procrastination? Are you willing to sacrifice indiscipline? Are you willing to sacrifice carefree attitude? So what is it that you're willing to sacrifice, in order for you to move towards that goal? What will you be willing to sacrifice is a question that I want you to reflect on. And there's one other self-sabotaging, behavior that I need to mention, and then maybe we'll be able to, there are quite a number of them, but at least for the sake of, time and all of that, that I need to actually mention. And this self-sabotaging behavior is taking the barest minimum. Taking the barest minimum. Taking the barest minimum. Whether it's from your, no, so since we are talking about the internal forces, so I'm just going to limit it to yourself. I'm going to limit it to myself. So one of the self-sabotaging, behaviors that you also need to get out of the way, that you also need to get out of the way is accepting the barest minimum. And usually people accept the barest minimum because, it's something that, well, you don't necessarily need to really do a whole lot about it. And maybe I should explain what I mean by accepting the barest minimum. When you accept the barest minimum, it just simply means that you accept something less than what you are capable of. You are accepting less than you are truly capable of. And when you accept less than you are truly capable of, you will not be able to walk in the fullness of your calling as a person. You'll not be able to fulfill your potential as long as you continue to accept less than the barest minimum. And the reason why it's so easy to accept less than the barest minimum, it doesn't take a lot of effort. You might not maybe need to really do a lot. It's something that happens within your comfort zone. But there's no growth in your comfort zone. There's never growth in our comfort zone. Anything that is going to grow you will stretch you first. Anything that is going to grow you will stretch you first. When you don't want to chew more than you can bite. Exactly. When you don't want to chew more than you can bite. Exactly. Thank you so much for that. You must be willing to bite more than you can chew. You must be willing to bite more than you can chew. And people always want, people don't want uncertainty. We don't want the unfamiliar, because the familiar, what we know, the familiar routine, we still just want to engage that. But for us to move from where we currently are to where we can be, there is need for us to be willing to not accept the barest minimum. You have to tell yourself that you cannot settle with mediocrity. You have to tell yourself this year that enough with complacency. Yes, you were able to achieve your goals last year, whatever it is that you set out to do. It's possible that you were able to even surpass your goals and all of that. But yeah, you can stop basking in yesterday's glory. There is work to be done today, because no matter our level of accomplishment or achievement, there is still much more that we can do. So are you willing to commit to that much more? Are you willing to commit to that much more? Because there's no way that I will become a valuable asset to myself, that you will become a valuable asset to yourself, except you're willing to embrace opportunities that stretch you. that stretch your capacity, because that very thing that you desire, that very harvest that you desire, there is need for a stretching so that at least your capacity is enlarged to be able to accommodate whatever is it that is the harvest that you desire. So what are you going to commit to this year? What are you going to commit to this year? You have, heard me talk about a few of the self-sabotaging, behaviors. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do about them? Are you still going to allow procrastination, indiscipline, fear, self-doubt, negative self-talk, looking, to do things perfectly before you start, and every other of those sabotaging behaviors to stop you? Is a question that I'm asking you. You don't have to you don't have to answer in the comment, but at least just answer it in your heart. And that will be where we'll bring this evening session to a close. I think I'm way past time. And sorry again, I apologize for that time that you guys were not hearing me. And thank you so much for being on this evening's call. Thank you so much, and do have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.